Spiritual sex and candy, yeah.
Hello, gorgeous beings, and welcome to Spiritual Sex and Candy. I am Heather, your Shamanic Sweetener, and we have my co-host JP Atkins, your Freedom Jedi. Hi, JP. How are
Hi,
you today?
babies. How are you?
Well,
I
we'll
am
get into
absolutely fabulous, except I can't find what I'm looking for.
that. Because why would we be prepared to do this? So we're going to do part 2 from
Why would
Kundalini
they?
to Ground, Unleashing Your Inner Fire through Chakra Work. There's so much to talk about energy that last week was just not enough. So we're coming back today to talk about more energy work. So we're doing a little part 2 before we head into Pride Month, which I'm super excited about next month's topics,
too.
to be honest.
It should
Like,
be interesting.
I'm like, okay, we're going to talk about energy today. Last week I was super excited about energy. This week I'm like, okay, we're going to talk about energy again. Can we get to next week already? Because I'm ready to talk about that subject now. I might be a little neurospicy or something,
Never. Not you. Say it ain't so.
So how are you today? How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, actually. I am loving our yoga practice.
I know. So Jeff and I embarked on this. We have to tell this little story because this is funny. So Jeff needs to learn how to do yoga because he took these tantric courses. We've talked about this, right? If you don't know, go back and listen, to our other episodes. And so Friday, he tries yoga. I'm assuming, right? It started Friday that you messaged me. Did he try to do this funky?
So, because I'm technically, guys, right now I'm certified to teach yoga, and I try to do this posture that
I don't know how to do yoga.
I'm supposed to be able to do.
Right.
I don't know how you do yoga. It's not even something that I would even like. So, and I'm doing this thing, and it sounded really kind of cool, and it wasn't even that hard. Like literally, you're just like laying back on your back and like pushing your legs up, and like and doing this like nice little tower, and you got to support yourself. It should have all been pretty like okay. Like it wasn't something that looked complicated. And I tried it, and I was
He's
like,
not trying to do a headstand or anything.
no, that is not. No, right. It's nothing that was like, like really, it should have been super like, okay, right? No, just no. And I realized that at this point, I have gone through all the energy stuff, and I did all the energy stuff because that's kind of what I was focusing on, and neglected all the body stuff that opens up all the energy stuff because I my body is not my temple. My body is not my temple, babies. And I just realized
it's going to be right.
Right. So
okay, before we get any further into this, because this is going to jump right into energy work and stuff, which is of course what we're talking about. But I do want to do our disclaimer really quick. By the name, of course, we are 18 and older. Do not listen if your kids are in the car because we talk about sex, drugs, rock and roll, all the fucking things. We drop the F-bomb and we say whatever we want. I could do whatever I want. That's what the show is about. So, if it's inappropriate, we're probably going to say it. If you're easily offended, please see yourself out now before we get started. Because though today's topic is a little mute, our shows are usually not this as tame as they have been the past couple of weeks. So, or last week and this week, because we're talking about energy work. But yeah, if you're easily offended, or you don't like to talk, or you don't want to hear about gay anything, or all the ways to have sex and everything, then get the fuck out, because we don't want you here.
Exactly.
And keep your negative opinions.
The funny thing is,
because we don't care.
Well, the thing I was supposed to be doing has us when I was trying the visualization for it is hot liquid nectar going from your root chakra through to your throat chakra.
From taint to throat.
Basically, which is where you're at, like
that
in
would
this
be a great
posture, like that is.
That's a great title.
Right.
And
right. So I mean, and I gotta tell you, doing all this friggin' root chakra work, my libido is freaking insane right now.
Yeah, because you're right. So when you start
insane,
doing
like things are happening that
that Kundalini energy that we were talking about before. Yeah, that's where that starts. So you're unleashing the snakes, baby. Yeah. So I am having so one thing that is not talked about a whole lot that I want to touch base on, because today I actually have been sick. So I feel like shit today, to be honest. I woke up nauseous. I've been kind of nauseous all day. I was exhausted. I felt like, this is how I described it earlier. Have you ever taken a pain pill where it like made you a little bit nauseous? And it wasn't like overly nauseous, but it was just that background nausea. And it kind of made the back of your head hurt a little bit and feel fuzzy. That is how I felt all day. Only I didn't take any drugs. So I didn't even have the benefit of like taking the pain pill to make me feel that way. But it is energy work. So Friday, Jeff messages me and he says, "So would you like to learn to do yoga with me?" And I was like, "Well, what would this entail?" Well, this entails me being up at 6:30 in the morning so that Jeff can be up at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, so we can meet at 7 my time, because I'm in Las Vegas and he's in Detroit. So we have to find a time that works for both of us, which is fine with me, because to be honest, I kind of like being up that early because I feel like I have more of the day, which I know sounds ridiculous, because regardless if you stay up later, I would just stay up later at night. I'm not up really any more than I am anyway. But so Jeff and I decide. So I go, "Well, when would you?" I go, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'll do this with you. When would you like to start?" And he's like, "Tomorrow." So Saturday we started. Right, we started yoga, because you should not wait if you want to do something. This is another lesson though. Like, right when you want to start something new, we tend to say, "Oh, I'll do it on Monday. I'm going to start Monday," or I'm going to, right? Like, don't wait, just do it. Just start. So we started on Saturday morning. I was up at 7:30. I was up at 6:30. So I was on the mat at 7 o'clock. And we're doing the root chakra specifically. So our practice is going to be weekly. We're going through each chakra once a week, right? Each week we are going to be doing yoga that specifically aligns and opens up each chakra, right? So this week it's the root chakra. Next week we'll do sacral, probably. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We might still need to be doing root chakra next week.
Yeah, I
am grossly not flexible. I used
maybe
to be,
this crow walking.
So flexible. I used to like be able to put the foot to the forehead, type of thing. And I am not. I am not. But when you start doing energy work and physical things will happen. So so with this practice, it helps your digestive tract, right? Because the end of your digestive tract is in your root chakra, right? Though the solar plexus chakra really runs the digestive system. Your pooper, your colon is part of your root chakra. So all the intestinal things are going on with me, which is a huge, I hate to use this word. It's a trigger for me when I'm nauseous because I threw up for years. I had really bad, stress affects your digestive tract. And that was one of those things for me, is when I get super stressed, I get nauseous and I throw up. Isn't that fun? And I spent, there was like a couple years where I threw up every single morning. And so Jeff gets to hear me whine at 7:00 in the morning that I'm nauseous and that I hate him. But I still do it.
I don't like me that much. I don't like me that much more than she does at that point. I'm on this mat the last thing in the world, if you would have told me even a year ago, if you would have told me you're going to go and you're going to sit there and learn how to do yoga from scratch, like, and literally this course starts at the very, very beginning of the Kriyas, which is why I picked this course, because I wanted to go all the way through. And
which I love, by the way. I do love the fact that, I'm whining about it right now, but really, I love that we're doing this. Even yesterday, I woke up and kind of had this beginning of a migraine. And so I said to Jeff, like, I'm going to take some meds. And he goes, okay, I'm going to still do it. And I said, well, I will send you proof. And when I got up, within 30 minutes, I was on the floor doing yoga yesterday. So, I mean, it helps me to be accountable to do it. So, I mean, even though I did it a couple hours after I was supposed to with you, we still did our yoga because we have the accountability there.
yeah.
But I love the fact
the
that
funny thing is that I did,
when we say basic things, we're talking about like rotating your ankles and your hips and like squatting and standing up.
and
Which I am so proud of myself.
it's actually right. It's a really great practice, and it is really at the beginning of this, and so, and I'm adding a couple of the things that because it is in root chakra, and it's the chakra that I'm working on this month anyways. So I get to add a couple other things that are quietly happening on the backside of that for me, energy wise, which is opening up, like, my libido is like, it's stupid. Okay, my digestion.
I could say that it probably is not quite as much as yours, but I definitely have been like, okay, I could, maybe, I could go find someone to have a good time with. I probably won't, but
I'm not normally a leaker, and I've been leaking. So it's really weird.
Really, all the juice is flowing.
All the juices are flowing, baby. My energy is flowing. My creativity is flowing too.
Yeah.
So because it's opening up the safety, so I feel safe. I'm out here, which helps that whole process too. Like, it's gonna be weird in tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow morning we'll be in our normal spot, but on Thursday I'll be back in Detroit, and it'll be weird because I will be not in my here. I feel so safe to do everything, and there it's not that I'm not physically safe. I just don't feel. It's a little bit more public. It's a little bit more
right
out there, and there's not a good place to do that in the backyard there.
Right.
It talks about me doing on a trampoline, like.
Please don't do that.
I know this one might be okay. This section might be all right.
I don't think it would be.
But it would still be a challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, I definitely feel the difference every single moment of my day now.
Oh yeah. It's interesting because as crappy physically as I feel, energetic wise, like I feel really good. And it's just my body, like I'm still swollen in the bottom half of my body, which has been going on for a couple months now, and I'm not super swollen, but just enough to like my skin feels kind of tight and it's, and so it's been good for that. And it makes me want to do other things as well. Like, but I also have to, because I have fibromyalgia, I have to pace myself because if I take on too much too quick, well, then it will take me back steps, because then I physically can't, so baby steps, which I think that's why I love this so much is because I'm grossly out of shape. We were talking about that earlier today, about just I used to walk all the time. I used to teach and be pacing and walking around the room and stuff like that when I was an instructor. And I don't do that anymore. And I haven't in, 4 years.
Max,
5
I
years.
remember
Wow,
joking
5
with
years.
me
I can't believe it's been 5 years.
when Max was going to give me a Fitbit at one point so that he could track my steps. And so I said, I don't want a Fitbit because I know for a fact for me, at the time I was still in, I don't know if I was even the fifth wheel yet. So I had 4 steps from my bed to the door. And the one I have more room in my bathroom now than I did floor space in my bathroom now than I did in my first RV. It was that tiny.
Wow. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Right. And I don't have right. So I had 4 steps. That's it. And I'm like, Max, really truly, 90% of my life is spent in 4 steps. Like
right.
I don't need a Fitbit. I'm not going to get up and do more steps. And it's the middle of winter. When she was talking about this, it was in the middle of winter too. So I'm like, that's not even a thought process. Don't bother. Even if I was to walk to the bathroom inside the house, it was less than 100 steps.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not something I was doing. Now I do a little bit more walking. I do a little bit more. I've been purposefully doing a little bit more, and everyone's walking their dogs. So Rupert is going to go off any second now. That's the third dog I've seen walk by. So
that's
just so you know, I'm very proud of how good he is being right now.
Yeah.
But so I've been, I don't move that much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I would like to add, which of course now, like the opposite of you, it's getting to be summer here, which this week it's going to be over 100 degrees. And like you can't go out and walk in that. And so Lila, my little Polish mama that I live with, she walks in the middle of the night. Like she goes and takes her walk at 10, 11 o'clock at night because that's probably the coolest you're going to get throughout the day, other than getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I'm barely getting up at 6:30. So 5:30 right now is probably not going to happen, at least at the moment. But there's other things you could do, which is like I'm going to I found some indoor walking sequences to do. But let's get back to energy.
That is all.
Which activity does increase the energy. So I mean, there's that part of it, right? So each chakra has a movement that goes with it that can help with opening up and aligning that energy.
Yeah. And what I've been finding is that the more we do this, the more I'm apt to do more. I find myself taking them and going into the backyard. I'm still not doing the whole thing that I'm supposed to be doing, but I can't say that out loud because if I do, we would have to end this podcast. The dog would attack me. But so I'm not doing that, but I have been going into the back and like going out there with them and having some fun. We're on an acre, so there's plenty of space out there. That reminds me, I need to after this podcast, I have to go and clean up where my mat goes for the morning.
Right. Morning, yeah.
So, there's definitely a lot of benefits for me doing this work. And if you really want to join us, let me know. I mean, we
Yeah.
can open it up. It's super simple and basic at the moment, and it's probably gonna be for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So you might want to get in now. Because if you don't, then
And this is like a judge-free zone. I actually recorded myself the second day. The first day I was so like had not my shit together, but Sunday morning, like I recorded myself, and I probably will about once a week just to see the difference in like I can already feel in my joints the difference, that the energy opening up, because your root chakra is in charge of your skeletal system, your muscular system, because it's your foundation, right? So it's your joints, it's your muscles, along with your bladder and your colon, and but throughout your whole body, your root chakra is really in charge, and your nervous system, because
yeah,
that's your safety and security, your fight, flight, or freeze, right? Is all about your root chakra. And so opening up that and working on it is there's a lot, yeah, it brings up a lot and a lot going on. And so like I've noticed my joints are popping, right? And so like I'll just move, and there's more fluidity to me. um I have more joint juice, right? It
yay,
lubricates your joints, right? And so my hip, that is, I congenitally, my left hip is messed up, like from when I was born. I was born that way. And it is popping and feeling good, and stuff. So I could physically, yeah, feel the difference already, because it's getting everything flowing. I
yeah, I
love
love
it
it. I love it.
as much as I whine
And
about it.
the the energy, yeah. Again, but she's like, you're up and all this stuff. I'm like, I get up maybe an hour before this. Like by the time I actually get out of my bed, you know,
Right.
when I set my alarm 2 hours before. I
I
lay in
know, I
bed for
just
an
give 'em a hard
hour,
time.
like
I
going,
set my alarm at
it's not happening.
6:30,
Yeah,
and I sit there for a few minutes, and then I get up, and I put my yoga clothes on and throw my mats down, and I get on the call with him. Um, yeah. So, because I'm not getting up 2
we've been
hours
though.
before to prepare
I
to
wouldn't either,
be
especially at that time. Especially at that time. Like, no.
and to be
And
fair,
the
and in my defense, this was with, like, less than 24 hours. Like, he messaged me Friday afternoon that we were doing this Saturday morning. So, I went from getting up at 8, 9 o'clock
yeah,
to, you know,
yeah.
overnight deciding, "Oh, we're gonna get up 2 hours earlier then."
It's
And it's good
it's been
because it takes time for us every morning.
mhm,
It is about our self-care. It is about aligning energies. It gives us a moment to just connect with ourselves and our bodies and be present even in that moment, because like we talk a little bit at the beginning, but like we don't really talk throughout it other than arguing what position it is and how to do the because Jeff and I are like an old married
again,
couple.
exactly. And the funny thing is that I did look up all the positions. So so Heather wasn't there yesterday, so I went through each and every single position and looked them up because I'm like, okay, he gives a lot of explanation. The guy, like, it's great for the first day because he explains everything. He goes through
But
it
it's really
all. He's
slow, so
going
there's
through
no
the book.
fluidity to it.
Right. So you
Yeah.
have to kind of take that all out when you're actually practicing. And then, so I went through and I actually looked up each individual posture and while Heather wasn't there. And I was like, okay, let me look this up. Like I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna know how to do it. I'm gonna and I have a guy that I really like that goes through all this stuff. And so I sent her like 2 of them that we weren't sure about like the first day because it was a little odd. And then we had not a disagreement about how one of the
Okay, so
postures we
here's
were
the deal.
confused.
So we're doing a very specific type of yoga to open up the Kundalini and tantric energy. So it's a very specific type of yoga that we're doing. So
Yes.
in looking these up, Jeff looked up the Sanskrit name, which he should, because I should have too. I looked up the generic name that they call it, which everyone calls them different things. And so, like, if you look up animal pose, it's going to give you downward dog and cat pose and, and cat and cow pose. And, right. And so, when he's like, get into animal pose, it was butterfly pose, was the one we were disagreeing
Yeah.
about. But I just looked up butterfly pose. Well, it was different than the way that the Sanskrit one is actually meant to be done. Right. That was the difference. Like, was that,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing.
And I was wrong.
There's
And
no
he was
judgment
right.
here. But it was because I looked up the Sanskrit and
Right.
we were looking up because I knew because I looked up stuff before and
You
I
had tried to
knew
do it
that
before,
you had to
right?
look at the Sanskrit.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like really specific in what I looked up and how I did it. And what really sucks is that normally you get a yogi explaining it and with a really, really, really thick accent that you can't understand. So I found somebody that I really like, that I can understand, and he's a gay boy. Let's face it, and he's cute. So
So Jeff
I
just
will
likes to watch the gay boy do
the gay
yoga,
boy do
right?
all the yoga. I will talk about my shallowness today,
Right.
and he's
I
a
was
cute
shallow
black
out
boy.
earlier today, but I will
Yeah,
not talk about that on here
no,
because
no. You can't talk about
not
that
yet
publicly.
anyway.
Yeah, maybe a little while. Um, so that's too fresh. He would know.
It is too
Um,
fresh to talk about now.
yeah. So I look at his stuff and it's and he does a really great job of taking each posture and like what are the big mistakes on it? What do you do? What are the keys that you need to do? What's the mistakes that people make? Like here's the and not everyone can do this posture because not everyone is that flexible yet. So he
Right.
goes in and like really says, okay, this is how to modify it. This is how to do this. This is how to do that. And
Yeah.
still hit the posture for its intended purpose.
Right.
And that's what I like about him too. He's like really thorough about it. And like he'll spend 15 minutes on a posture.
Right.
So
Which really I should just I'm gonna say this once and in this moment, do not take this as gospel, by the way. I should in this instant listen to Jeff.
what? I need to wait a second. We need to mark this on a calendar somewhere.
Well, we're
Heather
live.
just said,
We have it.
yeah.
It is on record that in this instant, I might just want to listen to Jeff
Well,
and do what
that's
he
what I
tells me to
do.
do, but
Like
only
if
in
I
this
don't
instance, just for
oh
the
my goodness.
record.
Yeah, this is a mess. But it's only because literally I'm really trying to I'm trying to be in integrity. I technically I'm certified to teach this, and I don't know it. I'm certified to do it. I'm not qualified to do it, and I know that
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
qualified, and so therefore I would never do anything I'm unqualified for. I have more certifications in energy work that I will never touch because I don't feel qualified to do it. Although
Yeah.
I know I am. I can if forced to, I could. It's not something I'm comfortable with,
But there's
you know.
yeah, but that comes into you have to be comfortable in what you are doing um to do it correctly because when you are doing energy work and we're just a conduit. So like when we talk about being healers and doing energy work
Mhm.
and stuff, like we're just a conduit for the energy. You have to, like, we're not healing you. We're giving you the energy to heal yourself, because you have to work on it. You have to, like, I can send you all the energy in the world, but if you are not receiving that energy and doing something with it, I'm putting a band-aid on it, is what I'm doing. I will make you feel better in the moment, but you have to do the work at the end of the day to heal yourself, you know? And if you have if you are physically sick, there is an energetic block in your body. If you're physically sick in some way, there's energy blockages somewhere, because there is an energy link to every physical aspect, every physical illness. There's a energetic link to it in some way.
And yeah, and that was one of the big things he was talking about in our, in the thing, on our discussion in the class that we're in his explanation of it. He was talking about the energy centers and how they're all connected into your body, and kind of went through and like was talking about that portion of it too.
Yeah.
By the way, Mikey just totally screamed at me. So
That's so funny.
I'm like in the middle. I'm like,
One of his guides, and I am burping. Like, so that's one of the things that, like, I'm releasing so much that it physically has to release as well. So, like, I've been burping. My intestinal tract is in overdrive right now. Let's just put it that way. Like,
yeah.
I have released the beast. And when I say that, I mean that. Like, it's been a crazy few days with the energy work. And I do alignments all the time. Like, I'm always working and aligning and meditating, and I have guided meditations that I do, and things that are beautiful. Jonathan Parker, amazing spiritual. If you could go take one of his courses, do it. He has a great, like, and he has some beautiful guided meditations that are, like, they're my favorite. I did one earlier today. And he has chakra ones and stuff like that guide you through and open up. And so I do that work all the time. But there's something when you physically start doing this, and part of why I agreed to do this journey with you, is, as far as yoga goes, is that it is one of those things that I have always said, like, I want to do yoga in all the national parks. I want to have pictures of me doing yoga in all the national parks. It has nothing to do with, I mean, yeah, it'll probably be content in some degree, but really it is about connecting in different places, in beautiful places to sit and just connect energetically with those places.
Yeah, I talk all the time about wanting to meditate in beautiful places all
Yeah.
over the world. That's one of my things. And now this is literally part of my meditation.
Yeah.
By the way, Mikey said that if he wants me to do an energy work, I will do energy work, is what he said to me. So I'm like, okay. The things that
When
I
your
fight
guides just
about.
jump in and say things while you're
Yeah. I'm like, okay. I love it. I love it. So we talked about we're talking a lot about the root chakra today, and we're talking about safety and security, because that's kind of where we've been kind of focusing this week. And last month I was
Yeah.
really um working on my third eye chakra, the chakra, which can I tell you, working on that was another like really crazy experience all the way around, and like how to really connect, dealing with because that chakra is all about your connection to yourself and the psychic, right? That's what that really is, going around, right? From It's your connection to, it's your last connection to self before you hit divine.
Yeah, it's your soul. It's connection to your soul,
So
your higher
working with
consciousness,
it, one of the reasons why, right? Yeah. So by working on it, the reason why is so that you have something that they have you working in this order, is so that you have something to actually anchor to, which is weird because I never thought of it that way. Like, because we talk about root chakra being your anchor and grounding and all that kind of good stuff. And they want you to anchor there instead for this practice.
Okay, because there's a difference. Your bottom 3 chakras are your anchor to the physical world. It's your energetic anchor to the physical world are your bottom 3. Your top 3 chakras, your throat chakra, your third eye, and your crown chakra on the top of your head, those are your connection to the universe and the divine and your energetic being in some way. And your heart chakra is the bridge between the both of them that brings it into your being. Right? So your vibration that you talk about, you talk, your truth, your communication, your throat chakra, that is what you're communicating and giving out into the universe. Your third eye connects your soul and your energy to your physical body. And then your crown chakra connects you to the divine, right? So these 3 chakras is all universal connection to universal energy in some way. Source, divine, God, the force, Allah,
the force,
Buddha.
Like I said, I really
Sky Daddy. That's my favorite.
Sky Daddy. Sky Daddy. Yeah, that's I got really comfortable with greatness on demand. God is greatness on demand. Call it whatever you want to call it. It's greatness.
I love that, greatness on demand. Yeah, I like that.
I'm like, oh, I could get behind that. And I wish he would have had that talk on Friday, because it was one of the talks that was in our when I was in Nashville, and it was a big, huge acronym for Dr. Obam. Amazing speaker, amazing person. I love him. I really do. I need to talk to him more often. And he was just like really that acronym, once I heard it, I was like, oh, and he's very spiritual, he's very religious, he was very Christian, in the best term of Christian. Like, he's a true Christian. Like, it's not a fundamentalist, it was very in a loving, gracious, beautiful space. And all weekend there were a lot of people there, and it was talking God, and there was a lot of Christians, and there was a lot of God talk, and that's always makes me itchy. Like, not necessarily because, and all from love, and it was all beautiful, and these are really great people, and I love them all, but it just gets a little, and I'm sure that if they were in a psychic fair around all of us, it'd be the same thing. You know what I mean? They would have
yes and no, though. Yes, because I always have to, the disclaimer, that because I am a witch and I'm pagan, which just means that I don't believe in Christianity, basically, right? Like, I don't believe in organized religion. Not that, to each his own. Of course, I say this all the time. Everyone needs to believe in something. And I think it's such a beautiful thing when someone who has no belief system finds God in some way, whatever that is. And usually that is, if they have no background, it is to go to a church. And I think that is a beautiful thing, because that is an evolution of who they are and what their purpose here is, and them growing as an individual. I think it's a beautiful thing. But people tend to think, just because I don't believe that way, that I am against it, and I am not in any way, because that is their own reasons why they are here. That means that their soul is growing as an individual, and they are evolving in the way that they need to, and they're learning their lessons in this life. I think it's a beautiful thing. I am all for it. But I've had people come to me and say, I would love a reading from you, but just so you know, I believe in God. And yes, I'm very well aware of what you believe in. And that has nothing to do with, me giving you a message from my guides and angels. Like, I just don't believe God is a white guy sitting on a cloud with a beard. That's what I don't believe. I don't believe it's some dude up there telling me that I'm going to be damned if I don't follow his rules. Like, that doesn't, in no way does that make logical sense to me. But if that's what you need to find that growth in you, by all means.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Renee
just pulled up, so the dogs may go off in a second. Yeah, it's definitely, I believe that you need to connect with whatever is higher for you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if that is Christianity, Jesus, Yeshua, was truly the best law of attraction teacher ever.
Yeah.
If you actually listen to what he said and not what was taught, not about the story that was made around him, everything would be much better. The problem is that we want to believe in the story.
That's why they call it Christ consciousness. That is why, Christ consciousness is connecting directly with his principles, which had nothing to do with Christianity, by the way. People are going to be mad, but it has nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do, that didn't even exist back then.
Christ consciousness actually comes from earlier. They made him Christ. That's actually ancient Egyptian. And yeah, so we could go and talk about that, where they religions around him. Because
opening it up and having a direct connection with source.
With God.
Now, on the other side of that, the energy. So I love going into churches. I love going into temples. You and I had kind of talked about this earlier today. Like, one of my favorite things is to go and view other people's, I love going to churches and cathedrals and I would love to go to a mosque, or if they would let me in. I don't know how that works. All respect. Like, but out of respect, like, I would love to go and experience, because the energy in them is beautiful, because they are energy portals. They are, because they're, the foundation of it is such a beautiful thing when you take away all of the political part of it.
You are allowed to go into a mosque, okay, just like you would to. You just have to make sure that you go into the women's side, because they are segregated.
Right.
And make sure you take off your shoes.
Yeah, I think it would be a great experience. That's one of those things that I would love to do as I travel, is to go to, that's one of those things that I've been to some very beautiful churches, and there's a respect there. Of course, there's respect there.
Oh,
I went traveling with one of our guests in a couple weeks. I can't wait to have her on the show. I'm so excited. This is my person. This person is my person that's going to be on the show. We go back to high school, and we have done life together. She's one of my favorite people, and I went on a trip with her and her wife, and they said, "Do you mind going to these churches with us?" And I was like, "No." And I got to see the freestanding staircase, like some beautifully amazing things in New Mexico, and some beautiful churches and places of worship that I'm always down to go and look at, because the energy in them is just so beautiful and pure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, I want to go to Agape. That's one of the places where I definitely want to go to. I want to go. There is, now I'm lost at where it is, but it's somewhere in the desert, and it's an open church. It's an open cathedral. That
would be beautiful.
Yeah, and it's out. I want to say it's in Albuquerque, but it could be Arizona. And now I can see the picture of this in my head. Right. I just can't.
I have pictures somewhere. There's someplace
where the hell it is. And so I will.
So, a couple years ago, I lived about an hour outside of Vegas. And my friend and I went out to Death Valley, which is such a beautiful, that's an energy portal. So if you want to go to a high energy place, because it is the lowest, it's below sea level on the mainland, right? And the energy is incredible. It's hot. I had a whole experience there. We had a whole experience there, my friend and I, when we went. But on the way, there is there's a church in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and we stopped and walked around and took pictures, and we couldn't go inside, it was closed, but it's like literally like on your way to California, there's like this church that's, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I love to go do that stuff, like, you know.
Yeah. There's a really beautiful church here that was it's Art Deco, actually. And
Ooh.
and it looks very different than your normal, and it's in the round, which isn't usual
Ooh.
here in the States.
Yeah.
Um, it is now a basilica. Um, the of the rose, the Basilica of the Rose, I want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty famous place because it's one of the few Art Deco designed
That would be interesting, yeah, for
churches in the
sure.
world.
Yeah, I love to do stuff like that. I love energy is such a beautiful thing. It's there's such, I mean, it could be both. I shouldn't, but to to be a conduit of it is it's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I
I
had to
mean,
learn to not, so I used to feed from myself. So when you're doing energy work, learning to be the conduit and not the source of the energy is one of the key things about doing energy work, because people ask me all the time about, could you teach me how to do it? How do you do it? Which I'm still trying to figure out how to explain it to be able to teach someone how to do it. Um, because there's so much to it, but, to actually do the energy work itself. But um, is that I used to drain myself doing it because I would pull, it would be my own energy that I was exchanging. So I was like taking on their energy and giving my energy. And the key is to pull from, if you do Reiki, pull from that, pull from, I I don't use any specific, there's a bunch of different types of healing energy. I call upon the universe to give me what that person needs in that moment. That's how I work personally, and stuff. But to be that conduit and to neutralize and send, just be the conductor between the two, so that I'm not taking it on. Not that it doesn't drain me to a degree, but it's not as bad as when I used to actually pull from the person. Because if you just pull energy from someone, if you want to take their pain away or that sort of thing, you have to be careful doing that. So I just want to put a disclaimer out there, because you can make yourself physically ill and take on that energy if you're not careful.
oh yeah,
Because if you take the energy on and you don't release it, then you will get the aches and the pains or the whatever.
yeah, and one of the things in Kundalini, the way that I was taught with the energy healing portion, which again, even talking about this still sounds like the way I was taught how to heal people. Like it just
Yeah.
doesn't flow for me yet. Um, but it is pure connection. So for me, when I talk about tantra, it's about the union of opposing energies,
Yes.
right? So you can put whatever structure you want to put in there. I'm going to be talking a lot about this in my next few Dragonfly messages. Is really about taking the Shanti and the Shakti, the gods, and that and putting it into the energy fields
Yeah.
that I believe is really at the root of this, um, in my opinion. So
Well, because
don't
it's a
come at
male
me
and
with
a female energy. It's a masculine and a feminine
the feminine
energy, and
energy and the
we
light and the
yeah,
dark and the sun and the moon and the this and the that,
right,
and it's
there's a balance to all
right,
energy. So there can't be one without the other, there's
exactly,
never gonna not be negative energy, because you have to have a negative to have a positive.
right. So and you connect through the solar plexus.
Mhm.
So and it's about connecting, and so that till you can actually feel it in your body and then heal it from your side. And it's like, so when I learned that and like dealing with that, it's been a very interesting, um well, especially in that time, because I was a big open like conduit, but it's
Right.
but it's
Yeah.
like being I attune it to being a plug. Like someone,
Yeah.
I'm going to plug into somebody,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
exactly well,
I'm
that
just a
is.
plug for
That's
the,
it. Like
yeah,
you like I always think of like, yeah, I'm the plug in the wall where like,
yep,
or right? So like we plug them into us because that's what you do when you connect, right? You create an energy
yeah,
cord of connection. That's the best way for me to describe it. And I work from a heart chakra,
yeah,
of course. If you know me, like I connect heart to heart with people. Um, and when I'm connected, I feel all the feels. I know I've been doing readings on TikTok. Like I've pulled a card for someone, and then all of a sudden I'm like, "Are you?" I was in the hot. I'm like, "Were you in the hospital? Like you have breathing problems, don't you? Because my chest gets tight. So yeah, when you connect with people, that's one of those skills that I'm really trying to hone in on is being able to tap in and connect with what is physically wrong with the person as well. So
yeah,
that's one of those things that I'm ready to do is um, get down to he, the physical things to then work to why is that happening? Because why is
yeah,
the huge thing when you're working on unblocking your energy. And last week we talked about healing of the wounds and opening bandages and stuff. But then, how is it affecting you now? And where is that energy block at?
mm,
And pinpointing those things.
yeah. Untying the gundies, untying, like the fact that again, I know I keep saying this, but it's so challenging for me because I am such a logical person. I have a worksheet for everything, guys. Literally, if you have anything that you're working on, trust me, you could probably find a worksheet for me. I could just message me, hey, I'm working on this. Do you got a worksheet? And I will probably send you one. Like, because I'm a very logical kind of person. And when you talk about energy stuff, yes, it does have logic, and yes, it does have things, but and it can be proven, right?
But you
They've
can't
shown
see
this
it.
over and over again in meditation and all this stuff, but you can't see it, and people think you're crazy, including you sometimes, like me. I feel like I'm crazy half the time when I start talking about this stuff because it's like, how do I
Yeah.
explain logically that there's knots in your body, energy knots that you literally have to untie in order for everything to move freely and energetically through your body? How do I talk about that? How do I, that
Yeah.
that and we're talking about the Nadi system, and like you have three different nadis in your body. You have three different, and if you can actually tell where you're breathing from, and if you can, I can tell you which nadi you're in and what you're, all this stuff. And I'm like, it feels very foreign for me still. It still doesn't fit out my mouth.
Yeah.
Like things that just don't fit out of my mouth yet. And I do, that doesn't make me any less, but it's like, it doesn't make it any less true. That's the hard part for
Well,
me.
of course. Well, yeah, because we are trained. It's that there is a part of you that what are other people going to think and how like are the people, and it's not even strangers, by the way, because I could give a shit less, but there have been
No.
times where it took me a long time to be able to step in and go, no, this is who I am and this is what I do. Now there are people that know me that are like, well, duh, of course you are, like, or yeah, that like totally makes sense that you would be doing something like that, like, and I get that response a lot. But then there's like, okay, but when I really start talking about it, sometimes their eyes glaze over and I go, oh, okay, well, I could tell when I'm like, now I'm talking a foreign language to you. Cool. Okay. I just know that those aren't the people that I talk to about that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when you start talking about and stepping into who you are, just like anything else, the people that are meant to be around and the people who are meant to work with you and to be a part of this journey come into your life, but they don't know to come into your life unless you're putting it out there for them to be there. As now my guides are yelling at me. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, it's, you know,
my guides are like, yeah, maybe you should listen to yourself.
Why shouldn't yours be? Mine's been yelling at me all day.
Well,
maybe. Oh, believe it or not, our hour
I know
is
it's
almost
time,
up.
and I know we could still be talking about so I think this is what I would really love to do, to be honest.
Okay.
We're going into Pride Month. We already have Pride Month set up because
I'm a homo.
it's Pride Month and we need to talk about that. But what I would really kind of like to do is maybe starting in July, why don't we just do chakras? Like, let's do a chakra a week or something like that, where we really get into what it is and how does it affect you. And maybe some of our, I'm always down to talk about my story. That's part of doing this.
Yeah.
And blockages and what blocks it and what comes up for us in that, type of thing. And we could do a chakra a week or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I'm game. By then I will be in sacral. So just so you guys know, I'm in an 8-month series, along with my training. Like I said, I didn't do a lot of the body work to do this stuff, but on the energy side of that, I also have an 8-month training where I have a chakra a month that I'm literally opening and focusing and dealing with. And this month is the root. I'm in month 2 of this. Can you believe it's almost been
Madahara?
Wow. Madahara, yeah. Madahara. My nice root chakra. And then we're doing the root yoga, which makes perfect sense. And then, so now it's like stupid things body is moving. The body
alignment is, you align that energy, and that's what helps us to flow. When we talk about that alignment, which you see all over, align with yourself. There's so much to that. People, it's not just sitting down. I love when people are like, I took a bath with some crystals.
It's
I'm
always
never gonna use that reference. I'm
gonna forever. It's never not gonna work.
Sorry, I can't help it.
We love you.
I love you.
If you're listening, we love you.
Beautiful experiences.
It is.
But it's a lot of work. Like, you have those, there are some really beautiful moments, but to get in alignment with yourself is to get comfortable with yourself. And when we say comfortable with yourself, all the parts of yourself, all the parts, like, not just the, I'm intelligent, I'm, this, I'm that. Like, it is accepting every pound. It is. Now, that does not mean that you can be grateful for where you are and want more. We have this thing where we think it's all or nothing. Like, if I want more or want something different, then I'm not grateful for where I am now, and that's a bullshit lie. It's fucking bullshit. You can be perfectly comfortable where you are and be grateful for where you are and want something different and want something more. And so being in alignment is getting comfortable with all the parts of yourself and being okay with it, and truly being okay with it, even the messy parts.
Yeah. I talk, I've talked even in this podcast about the energy stuff and not being okay with it. I know this.
Yeah.
And it's me working on getting aligned to what I'm being called to do.
Yeah. Right, because it's uncomfortable.
I know that this is the next step in my right.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that it was, again, if you were to tell me a year ago that this is where I was going to be today, I would have said you're on crack, so
right.
It's just craziness.
All right, what card did you pull? You got to go first this time.
I pulled the Knight of Cups. All right. So the Knight of Cups is we were talking about this earlier today. The Knight of Cups is the Knight of Love. He rides in, he's suave, he's debonair, he's the lover. He brings fire and energy into your life. He's amazing. He is going to make you drool and feel complete and satisfied.
But
he's not permanent.
I knew there was a but in there.
There's a big but on all the knights. The knights they come in, they have all this amazing energy. They're beautiful. They're great lovers. They're great people. They're great everything. You will fall in love with them, right? And then they go because they're off to the next conquest.
Yeah, they're a lesson. Yeah, they're lessons.
They're a lesson. But what they get to do is they get to open up all that stuff, all that juicy, and allow you to actually feel it.
I need a knight. Where's my knight at? Before the king comes in.
Before the king comes in, right? And then you get the prince, right? So it goes knight and prince, and your prince, he just has something to prove.
We're going knight to king. There's no prince in the deck.
There is. I do have princes.
You have princes in your deck? Oh, that's interesting.
I do have princes in my deck. I have 4 of them. So
I don't want I don't want the prince. I want the king.
And the princes all have something to prove.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that.
Yeah, they have something to prove. They're always a little insecure. They're always wonderful and great, and again, they're wonderful and great, but they always have something to prove. They're a little insecure.
All right.
And no, I'm not doing poppers, kids. I'm doing oils.
Allowance.
Ooh.
The frequency of the frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way, without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion.
I love it.
Let it flow, baby.
Let it flow.
We're trying to control everything. Allow it to come to you.
It's beautiful.
Okay, what do you got going on this week? Where can we find you? Tell me where we can find you.
You know what? The best way to find me is at trueawesomelife.com. It has all my socials. It has everything. I am releasing a really cool package of some of my older workshops that really were very impactful. I'm calling it the No Drama, No Excuses package.
Nice.
And it goes through the Drama No More 2024. It talks about how to get rid of the drama in your life. It talks, and the 2 major excuses that we all have, time and money, right? Yeah. Well, how do we get rid of those excuses? And these 2, and so these 3 is no drama, no excuses. Let's get some shit done this summer, and let's have the life that we really want.
I love it.
So they'll be coming out tomorrow, Thursday,
sometime this week.
Yeah, by the week. It's like it's there. I like there's a couple little things I need to finish up, and I've done other things.
It's just putting all of his worksheets. I'm just kidding.
You get all my worksheets. We will get some amazing worksheets. And the Drama No More actually has some energy work in it too. Ooh. You actually get some energy work.
Jeff's programs are amazing. You should go check. You should do one of his workshops. If you're listening, go check him out. Do one of his workshops. As much as we argued when I did his program, really at the end of the day, I have to take all the information and process it and figure out how to do it myself. And he's like, you have to do it this way. And I'm like, no, I don't. That explains our whole relationship right there. That explains our whole relationship right there. But no, but I learned so many things, and it did, go check it out for sure.
Yeah,
you can find me at spiritualsexandcandy.com. All my links are in spiritualsexandcandy.com. So go there, check out my bio, go follow me on all my social medias. Huh?
What? Yeah, you could do that too. Now I think about it, I could just send to the website.
Yeah, spiritualsexandcandy.com.
As you said that, I'm like, it's all there. Like all my stuff is there.
It's all there. There's a link there. You can find me on all my social medias. Come follow me. I have different content across the board. Facebook is if you follow me on Facebook, you're getting like all of that's my personal stuff. You're not, but TikTok, card pulls, do all the things. Go follow me. See what's coming next.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. By the way, are you going to be live tonight?
Probably not. I still am kind of like lightheaded-y. I did eat this afternoon. I've eaten twice today, so I know it's not like, did you eat? Did you do all? I did all the things, you guys. I did all the things. Yeah. I'm going to go make meatloaf for dinner. And some baked potatoes. Yeah, meatloaf, baked potatoes, and probably broccoli florets, I think.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Definitely. So I'm going to go make dinner. Thank you guys all for coming and hanging out with us on this beautiful day. And listening. Thank you for listening. We love you. Thanks for all the support. Sending you guys all love and light.
Yeah, if you guys need anything, again, check Spiritual Sex and Candy. You can get all the links for both of us. And you guys are so totally loved. I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread awesome.